Hi, my name is Boyd Sievers, and you may have seen me in other lectures such as how they lived and what they ate. But today we're here at the site of Nazareth to lecture about how they fought. Primarily there were two kind of forms of weapons. You had your long-range weapons and you had your melee weapons. Now traditionally when it was just a militia in play, the melee weapons pretty much consisted of standard household instruments. You'd grab your rakes, your shovels, whatever you happen to have handy that would happen to kill another human being. But if it was a larger, more standing army, then you'd have things such as a mace, a sword, and a spear. Axes were also kind of prevalent depending what area you were in. But for the sword, for instance, there were kind of two swords. You had your Sith sword, which was used for like a slashing maneuver. It didn't really have much of a sharp point, only one end was sharpened. And then you had your stabbing sword, which came later with other influences, and that one was actually made to pierce. The Romans used that one, for example. But traditionally, in most of the Bible, they would be using a sword that's used for slashing. Maces were very common just because they were so easy to make and very economical. Pretty much it was just a heavy weight at the end of a stick, and you just had to hit someone over the head. Didn't require much training, didn't require much work, and it was very easy to make. But for long-range weapons, there were really two. You had your bow and arrow that all of us have grown up with seeing and whatnot, a pretty common weapon. And then you had your sling, which is kind of unique to the Middle East. It was very, very accurate, very, very easy and cheap to construct. The ammunition you just find laying around on the ground. And it would work very, very accurately once you knew how to use it and had the proper training, which shepherds had more than enough time to do on their own. And so using all those weapons, they pretty much went to battle. Like I said, the militia, not so well armed, but they'd steal weapons from the professional armies if they could manage to beat them. So, with that said, I actually have a great interview with an Israeli friend of mine who's going to teach us the difference between a spear and a javelin, and show us a great demonstration on how the javelin is used. Hey Deborah, just coming in today, and we were hoping that you could show kind of the students that are back in the United States kind of the differences between a spear and a javelin, and then kind of if you could show us how you throw a javelin.
Sure. There's a spear and a javelin are very similar, but they're completely different in what they do. A spear would be a lot bigger than this, actually a lot heavier. And it was used for more of a stabbing motion than anything else. It was made to pierce armor and all that. A javelin actually was much lighter. It was like this, had a sharpened hard metal tip, and you'd have a number of them. They're much lighter weight to keep them in a quiver, and you'd throw them at your enemy. So it was more of a long distance. Spears were short distance.
Okay, so you never actually throw a spear?
No, you wouldn't throw a spear.
Okay, do you know kind of how prevalent these were maybe, if they were used much?
Yeah, they were used quite often, and I can actually show you how we throw a javelin.
That would be pretty awesome.
Kind of hold it back here, just do one of these things and hop forward.